Hello, Year 8. I hope you're as well as you can be. Obviously, this is quite an unusual situation, and in normal circumstances, I would be coming to deliver this to you in assembly. But here we are. We're in the midst of another lockdown. But despite everything that's going on, you've got a really important year ahead of you. And one of the things that you're going to need to think about over the course of this year is your option choices. It may seem strange to think about that, given that you've just started year 8, really, but actually by the end of this half term and at the start of February, you will have probably made some really important decisions about the next 3 years of your schooling. So with any big decision that you need to make, it's really important that you've got the appropriate amount of information and guidance to be able to help you make those decisions as informed as you possibly can. So in terms of year 8 options, in the coming weeks then, you're going to have those important decisions to make. And of course, that's about your GCSE choices. But we can't have you do that without some support guidance. Now, the key things to think about when you make these decisions are the following. Any decision that you make, try and make sure that you've carefully considered that decision. It's not just a snap decision that you've made without thinking about anything else, without doing any additional research. It's a considered decision. Try and make sure, although ultimately it is your decision, try and make sure that you talk to other people around you about that decision before you make it. Talk to parents and carers about the things you're thinking about doing at GCSE. Involve them in those discussions. Talk to them about why you'd like to do those things. But also talk to staff. This is particularly important for the subjects that you have not experienced before, the ones that are new for GCSEs. But also, don't just assume that the history or the geography that you've been doing in year 7 and year 8 is just going to be the same. Some subjects, although they have the same name, might actually look very different at GCSE level, and it's important that you get all the information that you can to help you decide whether it's right for you. And really, underpinning everything that you do, try and make decisions that are right for you and your learning. Not because all of your friends are doing a particular subject and they're pressuring you to do it, or you're not really bothered and that's the reason that you give for doing a subject. Really do try and think, is this the right decision for me? Of course, you can't do all of that without some guidance. So what I'll take you through next are how we're going to support you over the course of this next half term. Starting from now, obviously, as I speak, you're receiving this first little kind of introduction from me, and hopefully this is going to sit nicely alongside a variety of other useful resources and support that you can receive. Firstly, in the week beginning that you're watching this, the options information is going to be published. Now, in the past, you will have received a hard copy of an options booklet, and you would physically be able to have taken that away. It would have gone out with a lot of information in letters to parents and carers. Instead, what we're going to do this year, in this new world that we're living in with the pandemic at the moment, is that we are going to make a suite of information available for you on our school website. And this will include all the usual information that you might normally expect to get from school when you're making your options choices, but also some slightly new things as well, which we hope you'll find useful. At this stage then, at this very kind of early stage of things, make yourself aware and familiar with where to find that information. Parents and carers will receive parent mails about how to find this, but your tutors will also be able to direct you to this information through your communications with them in the Google Classroom. So please look out for that and be aware of it going forward. What you're also going to need to do throughout this time is start to get some impartial advice, because we as teachers can give you a lot of advice, but it's also important that you get advice that is impartial. So that means there's nobody kind of, there's no incentive for that person to give you that information other than for you to have that information. So to help you do that, we get some support in from the Connections service. We're very fortunate to have a good relationship with them, and Carol Myers, who works at the North Tyneside Connections service, will most likely do something very similar to what I'm doing now, and go through a range of support and things to think about when making your GCSE choices. Now, this will most likely be delivered to you in a similar way to what you're receiving this information from me now, probably in some tutor time on a Monday morning, and hopefully that will be the week after you receive this, or at least no later than that as well. So starting off the support there, we've got the range of online resources that are available to you on the school website, and then we're going to have the presentation from myself, which you're receiving now, and an option choices presentation from North Tyneside Connections service to offer you that impartial advice. Then throughout the rest of January, really the emphasis is on you. Get researching. You might have a sense or an idea of the types of subjects that you want to do. Well, have a look at that options booklet. Do the things you want to do fit into the options available to you? Can you do the particular combinations of things that you want to do? The research should also involve finding out about the subjects that you're interested in. And to be honest, finding out about the subjects that you might at this stage just be dismissing. Oh, I don't want to do that. Well, how can you say that until you know a little bit more about it? Okay. So take advantage of the short subject video clips that will be available on the school website that give you a little taster of what each of the subjects are like at GCSE. But don't stop there. You can't get all the information that you need from those video clips. Talk to your teachers. Okay, ask them questions about the subjects they teach at GCSE, what those subjects are like. Ask them about how those subjects are assessed. Are they exams? Are they coursework? Are they a combination? Are they short answer exams? Are they long answer exams? Think about your own strengths and weaknesses and think about whether those choices are appropriate for you. Ask to see some of the exam papers or online versions of the exam papers if you're unsure. See what types of questions that you'll be asked. Ask about the subjects or the topics within those subjects, and anything that you're unsure of what it means, well, ask a teacher what it means. And to be honest, although the situation that we're in creates many challenges, one of the opportunities that we've got working digitally as we are at the moment is that actually contacting your teachers and being able to communicate with them is arguably perhaps easier than it has been in the past, because you can get that instant messaging and get that feedback relatively shortly afterwards as well. Now, there is a parents' evening scheduled, of course, towards the end of January, but please don't leave everything until then. Okay, please try and come to that parents' evening with a reasonably good idea about what it is you're hoping to do for your GCSEs, and that parents' evening should act as the confirmation, really, of the choices that you want to make. As we continue then throughout January, make sure that you discuss those options at home. As I've said, the decision is ultimately yours, but listen to parents and carers. Talk to them about what you're thinking of doing. consider their views. It is ultimately your decision, but the best decisions involve other people thinking about them as well. Then, as I mentioned before, that parents' evening comes along. That's a chance for you to get feedback on where you are on your subjects, and that might help you decide which ones are most appropriate to you. Okay? It doesn't mean that you can't do subjects that you're struggling with a little bit, but if you're struggling to make decisions between some subjects and others, it might be worth thinking about how well you've done in that subject to date, because that might be an indication of how capable and appropriate it might be for you to take those subjects forward to GCSE. It is an opportunity as well, of course, for you, along with parents and carers and teachers, to have that conversation all together about your suitability for taking that forward. And that's a really useful opportunity for you to ask any final questions that you might have. And then beyond that, in the 2 weeks that follow that parents' evening, that's when you're really finalising your decision. You will get your options form. It will give you that final list of options available to you and the various different combinations that you can take. You can make those decisions safe in the knowledge that you are doing it from a position of being really well informed and having really thought about the decisions that you make. Remember, at least in a school sense, these decisions will have a reasonably large impact on your life, because they're going to affect what you're going to be doing, at least with a proportion of your schooling, over the next 3 years. So make sure you've really thought about those option choices. So just to bring things to an end now, the key things to remember as you leave this presentation. Don't leave your decisions to the last minute. We're telling you this now at the start of January. We're giving you this information now, so you have got time to read it, explore it, process it. Do not leave your decisions to the last minute. Think about your options carefully. Take the opportunities that you've got to speak to staff and speak to your parents and carers at home over the course of January and into February about your choices. You've got 6 weeks or so to do that, so take those opportunities. Get in touch with your teachers via the Google Classrooms if you need to, if you can't do it in person. And I'm sure they'll be more than happy to get back to you. And remember that rich amount of resources that are available to you to help you make your decision. Pay close attention to the subjects that are new to you. Try and find out about those subjects. Things like business studies that might be unfamiliar to you, for example. Okay, really get to know what those subjects are like. But don't forget to find out about the subjects that you think you know as well. What does geography look like? What does history look like? What do languages look like? What does IT look like at GCSE level? And then finally, have a look at how they are assessed, okay, so that you can begin to prepare yourself and you understand how ultimately you will be assessed on those GCSEs. That doesn't have to be the be-all and end-all of your decision, but it should form part of a really, really well-rounded decision on your choices. And ultimately, above everything else, if you do all of those things, you're going to be making decisions that are right for you. And ultimately, what we want for you is that all of the decisions that you make, all of the GCSEs that you choose, you've thought about very carefully, and you've chosen them because they're appropriate for you and what you want to do moving forward. So, good luck with your choices. Please don't hesitate to get in touch with your teachers, your tutors. Take advantage of all that information that will be on the school website in the options area and make those decisions with our support. Take care, keep safe, and I'll see you soon. Thank you.